check out the new setup.
Afternoon and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with Alex, coming to you from GreenDragonCVR in Woodbridge to talk to you about video games.
Oh yeah.
How are you today, Alex?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Not so bad at all. I playing a bit of V-Rising myself lately, still dabbling in Tears of the Kingdom. Until Final Fantasy 16, that's probably about it for me.
Yeah, that's the plan I'm on, is Tears of the Kingdom all the way until Final Fantasy, probably.
Yeah.
I can't really see
No way it's
myself
going to be
playing
done by then, though.
I won't even be close. No, it'll be like, I'll take a break from Zelda, hopefully play through all of 16 and then jump back into Zelda. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. We'll see.
I think that's what's going to happen.
It's fair,
going to
right?
be like when I was playing fucking, I don't know, I think you may have been playing it too, Days Gone in 2019. Mm-hmm. Stopped for a week to play
I did at
Bloodstained.
first, yeah.
Yeah.
That was to play which?
Bloodstained there for a week or two.
Bloodstained, yeah. I jumped on Bloodstained and didn't go back to Days Gone.
That's all right. It was long as fuck.
Yeah.
That's
good game, though.
world
Great game, yeah. I've considered playing it again, like on the PC, but actually playing through it.
It is a good game.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah.
If I didn't spend 90 hours on it the first time, but
yeah, seriously. That's like the Death Stranding predicament. They released the PC, then like PS5 Director's Cut, but it's like
the reiterated one that you want to participate in, but
yeah, they need to do like a Tears of the Kingdom style sequel to Death Stranding. You know what I mean? Where it's like a lot of the same but very different and remixed.
Time is precious these days with so many games coming out that, you know, barely get to complete the ones I start, much less go back to ones I've already finished.
Very true.
So maybe in a perfect world we'll be replaying Days Gone and Death Stranding, but for now it's those ones we mentioned, eh?
That is correct.
But today we'd like to talk about a game that I can guarantee neither of us is going to play.
That's an absolute safe bet for sure.
And you know, more than about the game itself, which again we haven't played, we don't have any details to provide that we haven't already afforded all previous listeners, but I'd like to talk about the disastrous development of Redfall, reported on by the industry's favorite snitch.
Yes.
Back at it again. This guy would be like the guy, if he was in prison, he would trade like fucking gossip for protection. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He would be that guy. The official snitch.
The fucking professional snitch. But he gets some dirty ass details on all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Last one was on Anthem, and this is on Redfall, buddy. And the headline for this video should be, Redfall was so shit, 70% of the employees left during the making of it. And it wasn't just the employees, it was veteran employees who, you know, made the studio what it was. But why don't we start from the beginning, eh?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this article came out on the 1st of June, just 5 days ago.
Wow.
Today's the 6th, I believe. And it details how even before, now a little bit of background on our discourse surrounding this game.
Yeah.
We thought it was Microsoft's fault.
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, more importantly, like we were wrong about basically this game being a Microsoft call for, you know, like a Game Pass style game.
That's right.
This game
they were already making one.
It's been in the making for years, and it was a Zenimax decision. It just, you know, happened to be that over the course of the development of this game, Microsoft purchased Zenimax and took over, you know, Arkane. But
they are making Game Pass style games.
We were fucking wrong that it was at least a Microsoft decision. It was a Microsoft and it gets funny later on, but anyway.
It does get funny, the extent to which we were incorrect about it, right? Yeah. No, but that's an important thing to remark on, actually. Like, this whole concept of a Game Pass style game, of games as a service and shit, like Microsoft, you know, given their position in the industry, lack of fucking any creative integrity or anything to actually offer people game wise, it makes sense that they were the ones to jump onto this trend, you know, the way that they did.
Yeah, like live service, you know,
to make it their thing,
with,
you know, to become the company that does that exclusively. But it was, you know, around for a lot longer than, you know, them practicing. Like, they didn't even invent that, I guess.
At this point, I feel like those kinds of games have been around for fucking ever.
It was somebody else's invention, so.
Yeah.
Here we're reading that, you know, they've been developing this game for 7 years. Does it say when development started? Go back to the top, perhaps. The game's been in development for 7 years anyways, and a lot has transpired at Arkane over that time period. You know, there was the release of Prey, and Jason Schreier provides us this detail here, but we could have, you know, fucking inferred this from the surrounding circumstances. Prey released to critical acclaim. Everybody enjoyed it, but it didn't sell well, you know?
Yeah, it was like a commercial failure, but also a critical success. Yeah, it was a single player game. It was a little bit different, somewhat innovative, right?
And I think this comes from developing in the immersive sim genre. It's just a necessary.
True. Yeah.
Like you're gonna make a fucking. Be a little, it's not gonna, it's not a popular genre, right? Like it's not a
true. Okay.
It's not a marketable genre.
Yeah, fair.
It's a kind of a puzzle game practically in terms of how you assess and meet all of the different problems in the game, right? Like that's what defines the immersive sim genre. You're thrown in this like sandbox and you have a bunch of tools and you can deal with these overlapping systems to solve a problem with no direct solution, right? So you can see why this is not the most
desirable,
palatable genre. Not the most commercially successful, but
fair enough.
I mean, whatever we think about this, whether we think they should sacrifice money for the sake of the integrity of their games, which of course we do, is besides the point. Here the fucking story is that, hot on the failure of Prey in a commercial sense, leadership at Arkane decided it was time to go in a different direction.
Right.
They decided it was time to implement some kind of like multiplayer elements in the game, like many other studios across the Zenimax family were doing at that time, and I think here they list Doom especially. There was one other one. Doom, Fallout, and Wolfenstein from Zenimax had already implemented some kind of like online elements or monetization after the fact by the time that Arkane was developing Redfall. So
I guess the logical step was, well, instead of implementing it in something, let's go full fucking blown new IP that is this right out the gate, right? I guess that's which, like, I mean, I guess from a business standpoint, it would make sense, but
yeah. Jason Schreier provides this detail that after, like we just said, after the commercial failure of Prey, leadership across Arkane wanted to make something more broadly appealing, and what emerged was the idea to make a multiplayer game in which users would team up to battle vampires and maybe pay for occasional cosmetic upgrade.
A Left 4 Dead clone, basically, something along those lines.
Yeah, and the real problem with this was something that, again, we talk about this all the time. It's funny to see this in the fucking news, buddy. Like, this is a studio, that's reputed for making a certain kind of game, right? And the relationship of the fucking guy making the game to the game he makes is kind of like a fucking, like a person to a limb almost, right? Like the thing is an expression of the fucking guy. Like it resides in him, and the stuff we touch outside in the world and play is only an expression of it, right? Like you have an intimate relationship with the stuff you make, and I think that's why it matters what stuff somebody was making before. It's not that you can't make something new, but it is the case that you become habituated into something, and your talent for making it and your relationship to it is
passion, everything that runs through you, right? That's what you want to be doing. It's
you just know it better. You're more capable of making it than other people who haven't done it before, right? That's why it's worth paying attention, in my opinion, to the kind of things people have done before. Like some people say, well, it doesn't matter who's making it. Yeah, of course it does. It's the only thing that matters.
Exactly.
It matters even more than what they're making. It's better to play something entirely different by a competent developer than to play exactly what you want by somebody else, right?
Yeah,
it's the only thing that matters, the people making the game. So when we read things like this, where Jason Schreier is saying Arkane had become known for games called immersive sim single-player experiences in which players strive to overcome obstacles in multiple ways. Yeah, overlapping systems and shit like we just said.
Yep.
Yet from the start, this was pitched as a multiplayer Arkane game. And just like you and I were fucking confused by this concept, apparently the people fucking working there were confused too.
Oh, no, yeah.
Well, some members said they found this confusing. Whether the sort of gameplay the studio specialized in would technically be possible in a multiplayer environment was an open question.
Yeah,
dude, it's not an open question. The answer's fucking no.
The answer is no.
Like, who is it an open question to? What are you talking about?
I mean, like, is it possible? Like, I mean, obviously, not what ended up releasing, but don't you think that would be a possibility? Like, obviously, that maybe not. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
I don't know, man.
Because at the end of the day, it's the focus has shifted from making, like we always say, making a fucking game to making a fucking product.
Accommodating the interaction of people within the space. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
otherwise, technically, maybe, but not.
What if they made something like fucking? I'm trying to I remember before there was a time when I was like, this might be an okay game, and in my mind, it might have come out like Monster Hunter. Say,
even watching some of the footage, like it looked, it looked cool.
It might have come out like one of these games that they did incorporate like PvE fucking multiplayer essentially, right?
Right, yeah.
And it's not to the detriment of the game. It's like a built-in component of it, like in Monster Hunter. Again, Monster Hunter is a good example to me.
Yeah.
Souls,
yeah.
Shit like this, right? That kind of stuff is possible, but what that fucking takes for granted is that the game already exists as an integral whole without that shit, right?
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, all those games are playable offline.
Yeah.
They're fucking known for their single player fucking components, right?
That's
that
true.
other
They
people
just-
can jump into as an accidental component to
Right.
help you with, but it's not the fucking the you know.
That's why I always get discouraged when I hear a game is like multiplayer designed like this,
Yeah,
right?
me
You know
too.
what I mean?
Me too.
I guess it's also the always online, like live service, that type of shit. There's a
what
lot
separates,
baked
buddy.
in.
That's the difference between Monster Hunter, fucking Dark Souls.
Fucking even Death Stranding, like, you know, that
Death
has
Stranding,
multiplayer
sure,
components
sure.
that are wildly,
That's
you know.
exactly right. That's the difference between all these games, and on the one hand, and on the other hand, fucking Redfall, Destiny, Diablo, right? Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck do these have in common? Utter lack of any fucking systemic integrity apart from their fucking monetization, right?
Right, yeah.
They're like just fucking like funnels draining down into the store, you know? They don't really have much else to them. And, you know, especially with something like Destiny, it's interesting because we've seen those elements be added over time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, you know, I guess companies want to get that right out the gate, right?
Yeah.
Be all set up for it, like day one launch with your store and everything.
It is fucking bizarre.
That thing sucks. Just sucks, man.
It's impossible to say though. Like, I do notice it with everything, dude. Like, even Wild Hearts, you can go and buy like some fucking.
True.
But the difference is like, what the fuck is that? It's tacked on. It's almost as though in the Japanese games, the monetization is a tacked on afterthought, and in the Western games,
Yeah, and
the game is a tacked on afterthought to the monetization. You know?
Yeah. Basically, in a Japanese game, you feel like you're paying to fast track and not play the game, whereas in I guess over here, I don't know how I would categorize it, but the game is just an empty fucking shell, and you're just paying for
a big
fucking
arrow
like,
to the fucking
you know?
store. I don't know, man. The concept of fucking going in a game like Wild Hearts and buying fucking something on the store
It doesn't make
like,
sense.
I would never
You
do
never
it.
would.
Why
yeah.
would you do that?
It was even the same thing with like Devil May Cry 5, where like
Yeah, buy
you
some
could
orbs.
buy
What the
orbs or
hell?
some shit. Yeah, like what?
Talking
It's
about.
like, that's why you
Yeah,
play
how
the
would you-
game. You
who
get the
does
orbs
this?
in the game and you spend them. That's how it works. Like,
don't you?
and it was still viable, right? Like,
What
it
goes
doesn't
through
I don't
somebody's
know.
head when you're sitting there playing a game like that, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna spend some cash to buy.
Yeah, right. I just paid fucking $100 for this game. Yeah, I'll put in another 20. Nah.
Brutally strange. You know?
It just ugh.
Yeah. I don't like the existence of these things at all, of course, but
No.
surely the point is clear that it seems like we're dealing with a game here that before they even knew what the fucking game was, they had in mind that this has to be a multiplayer game with online
Yeah.
features, broadly appealing online store, right?
They
And then
checked the boxes off and then forgot to fill in the
They
fucking.
came after the fact trying to fill in the details of what kind of game it was. Now, see what it says right here.
Yep.
These guys that they're talking about, Ricardo Bear and fucking Harvey Smith,
Yeah.
you know, people we've talked about with overtones of respect before on this very fucking show, right? Like Harvey Smith is responsible for some of the best games of the past generation or two, and to read stuff like this is depressing as fuck.
It really is.
You know?
It's sad.
It says these two guys, Bear and Smith, were themselves outwardly excited, but they failed to provide any clear direction to the staff and fucking frequently threw around comparisons to games like Far Cry and Borderlands. And it's interesting that they say that because Harvey Smith came out in February and said, this is not a Far Cry game, right? Like, that's
Yeah, true.
bizarre stuff.
Oh no.
So, right from the beginning, it seems like the people we should have trusted most to maintain the integrity of the fucking studio's like work efforts, they fucking shit the bed, and they had already sold their souls, right? Like,
yeah.
this guy was already on board with the fucking crappy part.
Oh god.
I mean, at that point, it seems like all is lost, you know?
Well, yeah, that's just like, you know, we've said this time and time again. When the head of the project doesn't know how to, you know, like it says, provide clear direction, then
That's right.
it's going to suffer all the way down. You know, it's games like Halo Infinite that have gone through 6 creative directors. That doesn't doesn't make sense. You can't
it doesn't
just
make
shove somebody in here, creatively direct this game now. Like,
No,
what
that's right.
is it? What is this? What's going on here?
I think, you know, there's some fucking, you know, if you have
Doesn't make sense.
different opinions about the way that the mind relates to things outside of it, we can fucking have a conversation about why this might or might not be wrong. But like in my opinion, like I just said, you know, the guy making the game, he relates to the fucking thing he's making, like to a fucking limb or something like that. Like the parts you touch and play and shit, that's just a sign, something fucking letting you access what he's fucking conceived.
Yeah,
But he's the guy with
yeah.
the shit in his head, man.
Yeah.
You can't fucking throw him away and just call somebody else in
Just
to
be
fill
like,
the shoes.
here,
It doesn't
yeah.
work that way. You're fucking a weird and materialistic person about what you think the art is, right? Like it's just the external things. And if you do believe in shit like that, then that's how you get fucking things like Metal Gear Survive, all these fucking
I was gonna
trash
say
games
Metal
where you
Gear
just-
Solid Delta with no
the game is not
Kojima.
its
Who the
fucking assets, bro.
fuck,
It's not its
man?
fucking the sounds, the sights and sounds. It's what the guy is doing with all those, right? So
Yeah.
if you shit can the guy, the fuck do you have left? Nothing. You literally nothing. A bunch of crap, right? And that's why seeing right here that the two guys who we would have hoped are responsible for having that vision
Yep. pretty much useless in this. This is like, you know,
worse than useless. Like the people under them were like, "The fuck are we doing, bud? What's going on? This is not what we're doing." And now it gets really sour, bro. Now it starts to get tragic as fuck.
Yeah.
Arkane was perpetually understaffed. 100 people or less were sufficient to make a single-player game like Prey, but all of these other games, they take a ton more people to make, apparently. Probably not only in terms of like fucking designing the infrastructure, but maintaining it and all this other stuff, right? So they needed fucking people, and morale at Arkane suffered. This part seems like he just slipped it in as a little detail, but to me, this is the fucking headline. Veteran workers who weren't interested in developing a multiplayer game, they left in droves. By the end of Redfall's development, 70% of the Austin staff who worked on Prey in the previous hits would no longer be at the company. This includes Sebastian Colantonio, who went on to make Wild West.
Oh, yeah.
And the fucking best part is, and it's not mentioned here, that this guy left after fucking Prey was done, around the time they started to make this piece of shit.
True.
You know?
That's true.
He's like, I don't want to fucking work in AAA anymore. You're making a product. You're not making a game. And look,
oh my God,
this is what he was pointing to, buddy.
I actually remember us talking about that. Yes.
That's why he left, because they were like, all right, we're going to make this. And he's like, I'm not making that shit. You know? I'm not making this. Fuck you, buddy. And he went. He made a better game on his own. So this is the real story here, so far as I'm concerned. Before this game got out the fucking gate, before they fucking managed to fucking squat and squeeze it out, they lost 70% of their fucking artists
and their most important fucking people were directly responsible in making some of their best games.
Who fucking are the pedigree or reputation of the studio. When we're like, Arkane.
That's the Arkane magic that fucking left before the goddamn game
right out the door. That's
idiots. Yeah, the Arkane magic. It's coming,
we were just
guys.
talking about what happens when you think a game is just its assets. What the fuck do you think happens if you think a studio is just its fucking brand or its name, right?
All the creative people are leaving.
People are gone.
You're left with just developers, artists, coders.
We always use this example. Like, what if the fucking record label's like, all right, we're putting on a Michael Jackson concert. You know what I mean? It's like, we got a new one. It's okay.
We got
honestly, nowadays a shit ton of people would probably go. Don't get me wrong, but it's fucked up. It's not real, right? It's a simulacra. It's not the thing. You know. They say filling vacancies became a challenge both because Zenimax paid like shit and because they couldn't get a lot of uppity video game developers to move to Texas.
Right.
So this adds another layer of hilarity to the problem. Like all of the decent people who actually were interested in making good games in Texas, you fucking scared them off. Now you're trying to get a bunch of idiots and they don't want to do it either. No. You're paying them bad and because the place they're working is not ideal, right?
And this is a colossal failure, eh?
And the hilarious thing is Microsoft purchased Zenimax in the midst of all of this. Redfall was already well under development. And
this is a very important part here that exactly what we were wrong about because we're idiots and in, you know, when this purchase happened, we were like, oh, they clearly told them to make Redfall, but this game was already in development by then.
It was in development by then already. Yeah. Zenimax apparently was already Xbox levels of shit themselves.
Mm-hmm. And they were headed in that direction anyway.
That's exactly right. It seems, though, that, you know, the acquisition apparently gave staff at Arkane, Schreier here says, hope that they might full-on cancel Redfall or reboot it as a proper Arkane game.
Yeah.
Right? That was the hope around the studio, that they'd actually get to make a proper Arkane game.
That was wishful thinking, if you ask
me. Thought Microsoft would come along and fucking save the day.
Can you imagine?
Buddy, I tell you, that is wishful thinking.
Oh, yeah.
But instead, Microsoft maintained a hands-off approach.
Yeah, we at least knew better than that. And Microsoft apparently, according to Schreier, they didn't really, you know, get involved and ask questions, see what was going on. If they did, a part of me thinks that they wouldn't have changed anything anyway because
I doubt they would have done
this was in their library or realm of things they want to make, right?
Yeah,
this is a fucking live service. Oh, you guys are already started. Oh, you're halfway in. Beautiful. Let's bring her home, right? Like, funny thing, they're not going to shut that down. Get out of here.
Funny thing is, that's why they didn't. He says remained high, right? Like, Microsoft started making this their poster child for fucking their first-party games. And, you know, they showed it in a couple of their big showcases. And
True.
Stuff like
I remember it being like talk of the, you know, Xbox exclusives that are coming that, you know, whatever.
Here's another fucking painful thing to read. Along the way, Schreier says, Smith and other leaders assured the staff that the game would get exponentially better once the final art was implemented and the bugs were fixed, promising that quote-unquote arcane magic would manifest at the last minute as it had with previous games. Do people really use this language? Like, aren't they aware they're like walking memes, man? You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah. Like, it definitely was in the case of Anthem. I remember specifically reading about BioWare Magic around that time, right? Wasn't it?
Bizarre. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
right?
I mean, now this guy's using that magic.
Arcane magic? What are you talking about?
the Magic where 70% of the staff leave.
Yeah, all the
I made
dudes
them disappear.
all the idea guys and the thinkers took off and were like, this isn't working for me. I gotta make something else. But somehow the Magic was gonna save it. Nothing is gonna save Redfall.
Yep. Now he says, in the end, Redfall never came together.
Nope.
Fucking surprised. Fucking surprised. Now Harvey Smith, recently said, according to Schreier, in an interview that he early on pushed back against compulsory in-game purchases. But people who worked on the game said the remarks didn't square with how things played out. For the first 3 years, Redfall had a significant microtransaction plan in place, and they only rescinded it after fucking pushback started to grow in public against the whole concept, against games as a service, etc.
Yeah.
So not only was Smith pro making this piece of shit game, but he was even on board with the fucking messed up monetization, apparently.
Yeah, I guess he bought into it and
That
said,
sucks.
fuck it, right?
This guy's reputation's ruined by this article, eh?
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. Recently, Microsoft has said that Arkane will continue working to improve Redfall, but, I mean, come on. What does that mean?
This is like, now it gets to like Fallout 76 levels where they're going to do as much as they can to try and improve it, but like, really, who the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, I know like apparently some people did end up playing Fallout 76 a little bit, but I don't think it was still anywhere near the success they would have needed it to be, right? And I don't think it's going to be the case with Redfall either. Who's going to buy it? And the people who are going to play it are going to play it on Game Pass. It's just an absolute failure that I don't think they can recover.
All around a fucking terrible situation.
It's
a tragedy.
Fucked.
And
that's just fucked.
Totally fucked. That's the end of Schreier's article. But to me, like I said before, the fucking headline here is that Redfall was so shit. It was such a Game Pass game that it drove away 70% of the studio, including its founder, Sebastian Colentano.
And basically destroyed the studio.
Basically destroyed
all those guys are gone now. There's no recovering from that.
Arkane's fucking,
it's done.
Arkane is exactly like Bio. It's gone.
It's gone.
Man,
it is gone.
The studios we knew growing up are gone. Eh?
They're gone,
In our fucking early 20s that we played all those excellent games, they're gone, dude.
Everything's
They
done,
are gone, man. At least the Western ones. I don't know, fucking...
Japan seems to still be kicking around.
Actually, those ones...
I know we sound
those guys are still working there since we were 12 years old.
Yeah. It's
These guys are not even there from 10 years ago. Like,
yeah.
It's very bizarre, eh? It's strange how that works out. Tetsuya Nomura comes back 20 years later to make Final Fantasy VII Remake. These guys can't keep a guy on board for fucking 6 months.
And even like, oh man, it really is a problem in this side of the world. Look at like Days Gone and that guy. Like we were so high
John
on
Garvin.
that, you know? Yeah.
Hilariously, a couple of months ago, that guy was getting flack because he said like liberal journalists.
Whenever his name comes up, so people are just ripping on him for saying some shit.
That was a great
like,
game. And
I don't blame him. I don't blame him for being disgruntled.
Oh,
and
I'd be
talking
salty
mad
as fuck.
smack on the internet. Fuck it. I would do
I'd
the
go
same
fucking
thing.
blast all those guys all day, man. Are you kidding me? Be like, whatever. I'm fucking. I got my money. I don't need another job. Fuck. Yeah. You had your game tanked by a bunch of morons, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, well. But this is not a game tanked by morons. It was tanked by its own self.
Tanked by its own shitty shit.
The lesson to take away from all this is, in my opinion, that even the people making the games, I mean, perhaps even especially the people making it, even more than us, the people playing them, they probably fucking detest this sense in which their work is fucking made a prostitute, you know? In which it's literally reduced to the fucking efforts to monetize.
That makes sense, especially given that like people were leaving, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they were
70% of them, I'd say. 70%.
Like, it seems like they just weren't even like intellectually challenged at any bit. They're just like, I don't want to do this. Like those kinds of people seem to thrive off of like letting their creative juices flow. Like a guy like Kojima is not just satisfied, doing stuff, working.
They understand
whatever.
what we're saying, right? Like it's not like, this is a controversial remark. These kinds of games are fucking prostitutional. Like, they exist to make money. If they have a fucking game in them at all, the game is designed as an afterthought for the purpose of facilitating the monetization, right?
Yeah.
And so this being the case, that's why fucking 70% of the workforce is like, I'm not making this shit. We made a bunch of great games. We're known worldwide. Fucking is one of the best studios in the industry right now.
Throw all that out.
Fucking threw it away now. It's all gone. Yeah.
It's fucking terrible when you think about it. Holy shit.
They were pissed they fucking weren't commercially successful with Prey. Well, now, buddy, this is not only not commercially successful, now your fucking company's gone.
Now they're done. Yeah, they're gone. It'll never be the same ever again. And
it's gone. Are you going to play another Arkane game?
No.
Now it's like, to me, like a Blizzard game, a BioWare game. I'm not going to play that shit, man. I don't care what they make. It's true. Fucking doesn't matter, right? It's trash game, waste.
It's a sad reality, but it is what it is.
Yep.
And that's why we're not going to play Diablo 4 either. Just to slide that in right at the end.
I'm probably not. I
can't see it.
I mean, for all the reasons we just said, it's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah. Basically.
If they had made it like a fucking normal game, you know, and they're like, there's multiplayer, then, you know.
It seems to be, yeah.
When you hear people say, nah, you can't play offline, man, it's because of cheaters. What are you fucking talking about cheating, bro? Me and these two guys are going to play. What are you talking about cheating?
Yeah.
You know?
That's because of the loot system, right? They can't, whatever.
Yeah, because they want to sell you fucking loot. I understand, right? But how come V Rising, a PvP game where you can play with 60 people and has some of the most intense PvP on the fucking internet, apparently, you can run your own server, you know?
True.
You think they can let you do that in Diablo? Fuck no, buddy.
No.
It's not a $20 game that's awesome. It's an $80 game that's shit.
That's shit, yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that.
AAA, baby. That's it is what it is. All makes sense.
I'm so cynical, bro. I can't stand it, man. It makes me sick. I can't stand it.
At least we still have Japan for now.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. For AAA.
Used to have this fucking professor who told me this story once about how his friend came from overseas to fucking visit him here, from Jordan or some country. He took him out for breakfast, and the guy apparently just went nuts at the breakfast table because the waitress was asking him like 50 questions about what he wanted, and he was like, "This is so stupid. I can't stand it. I just bring me food." You know what I mean? And that's how it's like fucking with all these game things, right?
Yeah.
It's just like just being drowned in like ridiculous nonsense.
Just stupidity all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Infinite options. They're all terrible junk. Nothing fucking to sate your fucking appetite for what you came for, right? Like. Yeah, that's the West, buddy.
That's why I'm playing Zelda, Final Fantasy, and Zelda.
Yep. That's why I'm playing Japanese and indie games.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair.
That's right. Yeah. And it's not even like you fucking plan it out that way. It just happens,
No,
right?
that's the thing, right? Just what speaks to us, right? What we end up spending our time on because it, you know.
The good Western games get shit bombed.
Really sucks you in, right?
They get destroyed, eh?
Yeah.
Like fucking, like Days Gone.
What happened to Fallout? Fallout's dead.
Yeah,
Fallout
Bethesda's gone. Like, all these companies
all these
are
games,
gone,
everything
bro.
sucks.
Wow.
Everything's going to shit.
So depressing, eh?
Yeah.
Fuck, wonder what happens with Remedy now.
You know what? The next big things that could be potential disasters, and I can't wait to see, would be like Starfall and like the next Elder Scrolls game. Like,
dude, those are without a doubt going to be disasters.
Can really hang on to their good IPs. I don't think they can. I don't think that, you know, like look at like Diablo 4 now. I don't know. It's getting praised in the media, but I don't think it's gonna. I mean, we know it's gonna be junk, but. That's only going to go so far.
It's considered a masterpiece
streamers. Yeah, fuck that. No way. I don't believe that shit.
To the modern consumer, but...
Yeah, maybe, whatever.
That's another... like an a priori problem. Like, it doesn't really matter what there is in there,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. It doesn't matter at all, but...
It's a question of the integrity of the work. It's totally compromised. It's not beautiful, right? It may be narcotically fun the same way shooting up heroin is, but in any case, probably time we cut her off.
Yep.
Thank you guys very much for tuning in. If you've played Redfall, fucking leave a comment. Let us know what you think about that shit, actually.
Yeah.
Really interested in, you know, I'm sad what happened to Arkane.
Yeah.
I mean, all the gloating aside over the fucking failure of a shite fucking concept, like, I'm sad what happened to Arkane. I love it.
It came at a great cost, I would think, because Arkane is not a studio we want to just be throwing around their name as a joke. They're no joke. They have made some good fucking shit in the past. Yeah, it really is sad at the end of the day.
It's fucking sad. Rest in peace, Arkane.
But at least it takes another jab at the, you know, fucking multiplayer live service garbage dump. So like that, we'll take that +1 over nothing.
Man, I remember playing Dishonored 1. What a special game, dude.
Yeah.
What a fucking amazing and special game that was. So fucking cool.
I didn't play it at launch, but I remember at the time like reading about it, and like the concept was like blowing my mind. At the time, it wasn't like something I was too interested, but I didn't hit it until years later, and I was like, oh my god, like everything I read about it was right. Like it is just
it was great, man.
Fucking
it was cool,
immersive sim, like, right? Like it's like fuck
great. It pretty much revitalized that genre, but it also had fucking weird artwork. If you remember the artwork, it was like not quite realistic, but not quite cartoonish either. That were like weird stylized human faces. It was really cool artwork.
Explain it, but it's like a blend, right?
It was like this alternate history that was like almost like magical realism. There was like steam technology and like fucking whale fat lamps, but there was like this outside god and like all this crazy.
So creative, eh? When you think of like the blending of styles like that, like it's not. You can't say it's like futuristic because it has elements of that, but also has elements of like the past and the present. Like it's just
a great game, great world building game. Oh man, what a great game that was. So sad, dude. So sad. Truly fucking sad.
Brutal. Wow.
Yeah. Well. That's depressing. Thank you.
And on such a terrible note, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
Thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, play your old games, I guess. Take care, guys.